In my last session, I talked to you about the prepositional errors that most of us make. Today I am going to talk to you about verbs. So we will recapitulate what verbs are. I will also be talking to you about the types of verbs, namely regular and irregular verbs. I will also be touching upon linking verbs and then move on to one major area which is a problematic area for most of us, and that is a subject-verb agreement. So let's begin with what a verb is. All of us know that verbs are action words. They are words which denote some kind of action that is taking place. Okay, they are a group of words. Let's see the definition being fulfilled from some of these examples which I have put up here, which says that a verb describes an action or state. For example, the baby cries a lot. Cries is the action, it is a verb. The second example says the tire burst in the workshop. So there is an action taking place here. It's a kind of an event that has occurred with the tire bursting. And the third example is that he is in a state of peaceful condition. So is representing some kind of state. So a verb is a group of words that can denote some kind of action or an event or a particular state. Now here are a number of examples. There's an exhaustive list. I've just put up one list here where you can see a number of verbs, all right, with their actions put up there, which will make it easier for you to understand. So have a good look at this example or this picture which I have borrowed from easyspacelearning.com. All right, you have verbs like open, carry, come, eat, cry, and another number of verbs that are also there. Now let us move on to the types of verbs that are there. There are two types that I mentioned to you earlier. One is the regular verbs group and the other one is the irregular verbs group. Now what are regular verbs? Generally, if you can add a D or an ED to a root word or a base word, all right, the resulting word that you get is a verb. That is, when you add D or ED in the past tense to the base form, then what you have in the end is a regular verb. All right, let's take an example. I have, let's say, bake, as I've put up there. B-A-K-E is the root word or the base form, and to turn it into the past tense I have added D. So baked is the ultimate word that I get, or the new word that I get after suffixing D. All right, so this is a regular verb. Another example that I have there is visit plus ed. So from my examples it is clearly understood that when you can change the root word or the base form of a word to the past tense by adding D or ed, they are regular verbs. Now your base form can end with a vowel. If it ends with a vowel, like in the example I have given you here, you have decide, which ends with E. The past tense is decided, you add ed, all right. And when you want, my second point that I am trying to point out here is, in the past perfect tense, you can add a helping verb like has or had when you want to turn it into the past perfect form. So here you have had decided. Okay, so the base form is decide, you have added ed, it's a regular verb, and you have added add as a helping word in the past perfect tense. And in the last case you have the present perfect tense where you have decided. Again, decide is your vowel, the base word which ends in a vowel sound. All right, I have added D, and in the present perfect tense I have the helping word along with it, and therefore it is have decided. So the simple rule is you add D or ed when it's a regular verb. All right. I hope this example is clear to you. Helping verbs are those like have, has, which are used along with your regular verb. Now in the first case, my base form or the word or the verb ended with a vowel. What if it ends with a consonant? All right, so vowels are A, E, I, O, U, as all of us know. Consonants are the others that are left out in the alphabet. So if my verb ends with a consonant, then I change to the past tense by adding ed. So the new word that I get is with a ed. For example, I have walk or work, which is a base form, and they end with consonants. Okay, walk ends with K, work ends with K. Now to put it into the past tense, I add ed. All right, so anyway I am adding an ed which is also part of the regular verb form. I add a D or a ed. All right, irrespective of whether I am having a verb which is ending with a noun or with a consonant. So if it's consonants, it's usually ed, and if it's a noun with if it's a verb ending with a consonant, it's ed. If it's with a vowel sound, then it is d. Alright. So I have the same example here again in the different forms. In the past tense, I have walk, which becomes walked in the past tense with an ed. Alright. And then I have the past perfect tense where I have had walked, where had is a helping verb, and in the present perfect tense I have walked, which is in which again have is the supporting or the helping verb. Now remember, walk is a verb, I have added ed to it, and k is a consonant there. I hope this is clear to you. Now let me move on to show you how some of these changes takes place through this image that is here. So I have already explained to you that you have the base form of a word where you can add ed, example walk plus ed walked. You have play plus ed played. Now remember, both these verbs end with a consonant and therefore you are adding ed. The next one is verbs ending in e, alright, which is a vowel, and you add d to it. For example, you have like, alright, you add d to it when you change it to the past tense. Alright. Move ends with a vowel and you add d to it, and therefore moved is the past tense of the word, or the verb rather, move. The next category, verbs ending in a consonant. Now have a good look at these examples. You have the word carry, alright, and they are easily colored for you to understand what it is like. So verbs ending in a consonant plus a y can be changed in the past tense by replacing y with I, and as usual you add ed to it. Is that clear? You have the word carry which ends with a y. The y is replaced with an I, and the usual ed is added to change it to the past form. So you have carried. Study ends with y. The y is replaced with an with an I, and you have an ed at the end, and therefore the past tense becomes studied. These are all examples of regular verbs. Alright. And the last category for changing and finding out if it's a regular verb is when some verbs ending in a single consonant. For example, in the word plan, you have p-l-a-n, n is the single consonant. Okay. Now when you want to change plan to the past tense, what do? What happens? Why? How is the change format taking place? A single consonant n has a vowel preceding it. Okay, n is a consonant, that's the last alphabet in the word plan. Now before n, which is a consonant, there is a alphabet a there, which is a vowel. Now what happens in this case when you want to change it to the past tense? So what will happen is plan will become planned, because the last alphabet n will double itself. It doubles itself because there is a vowel before the consonant. Alright. So the vowel remains as it is, the last consonant doubles itself plus ed, as is always there when you have a regular verb. So regular verbs are always adding d or ed. So the resultant word when you change plan to the past tense is planned. Okay. I hope you get this clear. N is a consonant preceding which is a vowel. So in this case n will get doubled, alright, a will remain as it is in plan, and after the double n you add ed, therefore becomes planned. The next example, you have stop, which again p is a consonant, o is a vowel, o remains as it is, p will be doubled, and you have an ed added to it at the end. Therefore stop becomes stopped. So these are how you can identify regular verbs, and this is how they exist. Now when you move on to irregular verbs, let me tell you very quickly that this kind of a format or formula will not exist. Regular verbs exist in a different format altogether. So what are irregular verbs? Irregular verbs are those which undergo a substantial change, whether it is from the present tense or the past tense, or from the singular or to the plural form. Okay. Now there is no other way to remember these irregular verbs but to memorize them, because the change is always there. All the three formats, the present tense, the past tense and the past participle, all the three are heavily different from each other. So, the only way to remember them is to memorize them. For example, you have go in the present tense. In the past tense it becomes went, and in the past participle it becomes had gone or gone. So, go, went, gone. Now, the three of them do not have the formula of adding d or ed at the end. So, that is why they are called irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are usually different in all the three forms. So, the example that I gave you here is go in the present tense, which becomes went in the past tense, alright, and in the past perfect tense it becomes gone, and in this case also I can add a helping verb like had in the past perfect tense. And if I want it in the present perfect tense, then gone will precede or will have the word have before it, because that is a helping word, and therefore it becomes have gone. Alright, let us look at some more examples to get this idea clear. Now, this is a list of words with regular and irregular verbs. Now, this list is not exhaustive. I mean, there are lots more that can go into it, but these are just a few, those that which you can look into and try to find out how they have changed or not changed. There are examples like accept, which becomes accepted, which is a regular verb because you are adding ed, and accept ends with a consonant and you add ed. Alright, you have the word bake, alright, which I already explained to you, ends with a vowel and you add d to it, and therefore it is a regular verb. Alright, but if you notice, none of the irregular verbs will carry d or an ed along with the base word. So, you have arise, awoke, arisen, which means that all the three words are different and therefore you have to memorize them to use them appropriately. So, it is very necessary that if you want to use appropriately, you should know what regular and irregular verbs are before you start using them. Okay? So, have a good look at this list. You will find many more if you search for them. So, this is all that I could put into this screen here, and therefore, I would suggest that you look up for some more of them and see how they change forms or how they are regular with the addition of d or ed. My image is taken from Teaching Learning English blog wordpress.com. Now, there are some exceptions to every rule. Now, I have drawn up a few words which can be both regular and irregular. Some of these verbs which can be both regular and irregular. Let us look at some of these examples. You have burn, which in the past tense can become burnt, alright, and past participle also burnt. In this case, burn is an irregular verb, alright. All the three forms are different, but burn can also exist in the regular form. How? Burn plus ed can become burned. In that case, if you are adding ed, the rule is that when you add a d or an ed, it is a regular verb. So, these are exceptions, alright. With language undergoing a lot of change, some of these rules have to be accommodated to bring in changes, alright. Then you have the word dream, which in the past tense, present tense is dream, past tense becomes dreamt, and the past participle is also dreamt. Now, you can also have dream existing as dreamed, where you add ed, and therefore, when you add ed, it is a regular form. So, the first one where you have dream, dreamt, dreamt is the irregular form, alright, because all the three formats, the forms are not the same and you do not add d or ed. In the regular form, you are adding ed, and therefore, its burn becomes a regular verb. So, burn can exist, burn and dream can both exist in the regular form or in the irregular form depending on usage. So, you have some more example like lean, learn, leap, smell, spill and spoil. You could come out with some more examples if you try to search for them. These are a few that I have put up for our convenience, so that you will understand the difference between regular and irregular and what are the exceptions. Now, let us move on to see how verbs can be used in an inappropriate way because of mother tongue influence, because that is where we started from. We started by saying that mother tongue influence is a main cause for faulty English that we use. So, let us have a look at some of these examples. My first example is, I have read this article yesterday, alright. Now I have corrected the sentence and the corrected version is in green. So you see the right answer would be I read this article yesterday. My second example or sentence is he quitted this organization last year. This is a common construction that we hear many of them saying. Quit does not have a past tense. You cannot add d or an ed to any verb by itself and then try to change it and use it saying that it's a regular verb and therefore I would like to use it like this. Alright. Some words exist as they are, so you have to accept them. So quit in the past tense is always quit. Alright. So he quit this organization last year is how you should be saying it, not quitted. My third sentence is this news was telecasted on NDTV news. Again, you don't have telecasted, it is always telecast. Alright. So this news was telecast on XYZ news or news channel. My fourth sentence is I rang him on the phone. Rang is a past participle of the word ring. So you have ring, rang, rung, and therefore ring is an irregular verb. Now the correct usage of this word would be I rang him on the telephone. In this sentence the most appropriate form would be I rang him on the telephone, alright, and not rung. The fifth sentence, have you sowed the seed? Now again here you have sow and sown. Sown is a past participle. So the correct way to use this word in this sentence would be have you sown the seed? Alright. In my sixth sentence I have I did my work when he came. Your right construction would be I had done my work when he came. When he came I had already done my work. So I had done my work when he came. Let me move on to a few more sentences to tell you where we make errors. The seventh one, I discovered that he is innocent. Now here there is a mismatch, alright. You have discovered which is in the past tense and then you have is which is a state which is in the present tense, alright. Therefore there is a mismatch and the correct usage of this sentence would be I discovered that he was innocent. My eighth sentence is this institution was found by late Mr. Kataria. It was not found. I can find something which I have lost, but here the word found here means it is not referring to something that was lost and then found. It means here found referring to founded, laying the foundation or the base, alright. So this institution was founded by late Mr. Kataria. It was he who established this organization. So the correct usage of the word found would be this institution was founded by late Mr. Kataria. My last example here is students as well as the teacher was absent. Alright, this is a case of subject verb disagreement. Students as well as the teacher were absent, which means that students plus the teacher were absent. It is not about students alone or the teacher alone. Alright. So I hope these examples have fairly cleared your idea about the wrong usages that we make in English because of the use of wrong verbs or the wrong usage of verbs rather in our communication. I would like to complete or conclude this session with a short exercise as I did with the prepositions. Now let's take up the first sentence here. I hope you will be able to correct these sentences as I read them out. I will be giving you the right option also. Let's take the first sentence. Our teacher will take our test tomorrow. Our teacher will take our test tomorrow. Is there any error in the sentence? Yes. Who is actually taking the test? You or the teacher? So there is a wrong usage of the verb take. The students take up the test while the teacher gives them the test. Alright. So your right answer would be our teacher will give us a test tomorrow. Our teacher will give us a test tomorrow. Right. The second sentence, every chair and every table in the room were in order. We are talking about every chair, every table which were or was. Yes, so your sentence would be every chair and every table in the room was in order. Each one was in order. They were placed in an orderly way. So the right sentence would be every chair and every table in the room was in order. Let's take up the third sentence. The poet and philosopher are dead. Now this is a very confusing sentence for most of us. The poet and philosopher are dead. Now here there is the usage of one small word, the addition or removal of which can change the meaning and accordingly your usage of the verb. When I say the poet and philosopher, I mean to say the poet and the philosopher are one person. Alright? Now, if I say the poet and the philosopher, then that's a different case again, which means that the poet is one person and the philosopher is another person. So my usage of the verb will again differ. Alright? There we are talking about two people, one the poet and one the philosopher. Alright? Now in this sentence, I am talking of only one person, which means that the poet, who was also a philosopher, is or are dead. It should be is dead, because the poet was also a philosopher and he is dead. Alright, but suppose I had the poet and the philosopher, I am talking of two different entities, the poet and the philosopher, two different people, both could be dead. In that case, my sentence would be the poet and the philosopher are dead. There are two people who are dead. But I am talking of the poet who is also a philosopher, I am talking of one person and therefore he is dead. Alright. My fourth sentence, I know Mr. Sharma for 5 years. This is a problem with the tense. So, what would your right answer be? I know Mr. Sharma for 5 years. I have known Mr. Sharma for 5 years. I have known Mr. Sharma for 5 years. The fifth sentence, she was talking as if she was a millionaire. A millionaire is somebody who has a lot of money. So she was talking as if she was a millionaire. The problem is with was. She was talking as if she were a millionaire. Alright, she were a millionaire. As if she was something. So in that case, she as if she were a millionaire. That is how she is talking about it. The child and his parents have arrived. The child and his parents have arrived. What you are trying to say here is that the child has arrived. Alright, that is where the focus is. His parents are there with him. But if you see the subject is about the child. And therefore the verb should be relating to the noun or the subject. Alright. So the child has arrived along with his parents. So your right answer would be the child and his parents has arrived. Alright. The child has arrived. Neither she nor her sisters is present. Neither she nor her sisters are present. When you have the neither nor, then here you cannot use is, you have to use are. I will be talking to you about this when I talk in detail about the rules that are involved with the subject verb agreement. Alright. For now, let us understand that this is an erroneous sentence and it has to be corrected because of this problem. So neither she nor her sisters are present. The sisters are not present. Alright. The judge said truth always triumphed. The judge said truth always triumphs, not ed but an s in the present tense. Rakesh replied that he will not come. Rakesh replied that he will not come. The right answer would be Rakesh replied that he could not come. My last sentence here. My father asked why I am late. My father asked why I am late. The right answer would be, my father asked me why I was late. My father asked why I was late, or my father asked me why I was late. I hope these examples have been able to alert you or tell you about the kind of errors that we make because of mother tongue influence. Some of these can be explained with rules, but most of them must be corrected by hearing a right model and using the right format. Alright, my attempt here is to try to correct you with a few examples. Maybe you can read up more on this, work up on some more examples, read up on some of these on correct and incorrect sentences, and improve your usage of the language. Thank you.